Games are thriving, and in times of isolation even more so. Games for computers, cell phones or consoles are popular with hundreds of millions of people around the world. In addition, game broadcasts rack up tens or hundreds of millions of hours of viewing per month. Games are played by young children, teenagers, and even adults. Although at first glance playing seems like a pointless activity, behind it is entertainment, recreation, creativity, and, to some extent, the process of learning. Play has always been an important part of human development, but the way we play is increasingly changing. Even toddlers play with flashing and talking bears, and older children drive electric cars. In the US, scientists were already working on the first computer simulation in the 1940s. In 1952, Alexander Shafto Sandy Douglas developed a simple noughts and crosses game called OXO in Cambridge as part of his doctoral thesis on human-computer interaction. The first known two-player computer game called Space War. Space War was created in 1962 by an American student, Steve Russell. In the 1970s, games became available to a wider audience. Magnavox, under the direction of engineer Ralph Henry Baer, developed the world's first game console, the Magnavox Odyssey. Total sales of this game console amounted to 330,000 copies worldwide. Since the mid-1970s there have been many classic arcade games, such as Space Invaders, which were later developed for consoles as well. Online games, especially text-based adventures and online versions of well-known board games such as chess or checkers, experienced a boom. Since 1984, online games continued to proliferate with the advent of new computers and the move to the internet. At the same time, the era of Japanese video game makers Nintendo and Sega, including Donkey Kong, began. With the next technical advances, computer games improved more and more graphically, and with Ultima Online in 1997, an online role-playing game in which several thousand players could be online at the same time was created for the first time. In the console world, Sony's PlayStation first hit the market, followed by Microsoft's Xbox in 2002. Meanwhile, Nintendo released the Wii, which now also supports puzzles, Sudoku, music, tennis, or boxing. The rapidly growing market for smartphones and tablets in the mid-2000s soon created a huge new submarket for game developers. Gaming trends also spread quickly across the internet. The virtual constructor Minecraft, for example, gained a huge number of fans. There are now online games with tens of thousands of players interacting, mostly distributed over several servers. Free downloadable games are also becoming increasingly popular, and since 2016, VR glasses have provided the first opportunities to play in augmented and virtual reality. Just Play digital games are especially popular because of easy access. While gamers still buy a lot of video games, most online gamers typically download a new, often free game with a single click, whether it's on a PC, console, tablet, or smartphone. With paid games, there's usually the option of a free trial period, after which you can decide whether or not you want to eventually buy the game. And now you can play digitally anytime, anywhere, on the way to work, at school or university, during recess, or at home on the couch. Some downloadable games don't even require an internet connection. This makes digital games an uncomplicated means of quick distraction that does not require much effort or special time planning. Games have even been proven to relieve stress and distraction after a long and tiring day at work. The exciting gameplay also gives players an adrenaline rush. And also experience small successes within the game, such as when they reach a new level or overcome an obstacle. The field of online games and consoles is constantly improving as digital technology advances, so countless updated and varied game content is created. There are now thousands of online games with completely different stories, characters, and goals. The sphere of games covers many different interests. Studies have shown that girls mostly choose games related to cooking or fashion, women prefer word games or quizzes, and male players most often choose action or sports games. Game developers often take years to work on more modern games. The result is games with 3D graphics and high resolution, simple controls, and very different features and details that appeal to people of all age groups. Particularly popular are games in which the player can design their environment, development history, and personality of their character. For example, GTA 5 allows you to exercise your creativity and come up with your own story in an open game world. Some games also use content or characters from TV shows and movies that many people can identify with. In addition to graphic design, music is also an important part of games. It creates tension, stays in your head, and contributes to the atmosphere of the game. You play with multiple senses and thus immerse yourself more easily in the digital world. Once the player becomes engrossed in the game world, updated levels, new worlds and battles with enemies begin to emerge. Developers of complex games ensure that, for example, you can constantly activate new features and tasks. Many players become immersed in a virtual world and at least briefly escape from reality. Unlike board games, video games usually do not have a visible end, but still do not get bored. So-called MMORPGs, which stands for Multiplayer Online Role-Playing Game, are also popular. These online games are played against each other or in groups. This gives you the opportunity to make new friends while gambling. Anyone can participate in competitions or battles from home without having to meet people. Gaming brings people together all over the world, and you can usually communicate with each other through chat rooms. Anonymously, but together, you can remain completely anonymous if you want. When you have few social contacts, players will find people with the same interest during the game. By doing this, at least in the unreal world, you can help each other and join forces, which causes joy and a sense of belonging to society. According to experts, non-violent games even promote empathy and, if the game lasts less than an hour a day, social behavior as well. Many statistics confirm the success of online games and video games. According to them, there are about 700 million online gamers of all ages and genders worldwide. Surveys show that boys usually start gambling from the age of 15 and therefore start playing earlier and more often than girls, who tend to spend their time on social media instead. It is estimated that one reason for this is that boys can show strength in action games and need to develop skills and tactics. Some are also encouraged to do things that are usually forbidden in the real world. If you like the video, support us by liking it, as well as subscribing to the channel and clicking the bell to be the first to see new episodes.